We're continuing our shiur in Dishu B'Halacha. Today we are holding on Kuf Tzadik Tes Amid Aleph. We're in Siman Shin Mem Hey. We're in middle of Seif Tes Zayin. So we did some of the Mishnah Berurah already, but I'm just going to start the Mechaber again from the beginning of Siman of Seif Tes Zayin, so we know what it is that we're speaking about. So the Mechaber had said, Gag haboileit al mechitzais habayis. If you have a structure with a flat roof, and normally we say that when you have a structure that's 10 tefachim high, and it's roichav dalet al dalet, it has an area of 4 by 4 tefachim on top. So normally we say good asik mechitzais, that the outer mechitzais of the structure are seen as if they extend past up the roof. So the dalet al dalet area on top of the roof is considered to be mukaf mechitzais, and that would normally make a rishos hayachid. However, over here the Mechaber is talking about where in this structure, the flat roof does not end at the sides. It's not flush with the outer mechitzos of the building. The roof extends over the walls. So gaga boileit al mechitzos habayis, when you have a roof that extends beyond the walls of the house, be'inyan she'ein mechitzos habayis nikara yisloimin al agag, so that a person who is standing on the roof cannot really perceive the walls of the outside of the building because they're beneath the roof line, have a kərmelית. The surface of the roof is not going to be a rishos hayachid, it's going to be a kərmelית, because we don't say, like the Mishnah Berurah explained, we don't say good asik mechitzta when the roof line extends beyond the walls. Va'afilu hu gavaya v'rochav harbe, and this is going to remain true even if this structure is very tall and very wide. Now let's stop there for a second and let's go into the Mishnah Berurah, Ois Katan Samach Vav, that's where we're holding. Va'afilu gavaya. The Mechaber said that this remains true, that the surface of the roof is going to be a kərmelית, even if the building is very high. This that we're going to see in Yirtzeh Hashem later on in today's shiur, in Sif Yud Ches, De'ein kərmelית teifes rak ad asara. One of the rules of kərmelית is that a kərmelית does not extend beyond a height of 10 tefachim. So what the Mishnah Berurah is bavarning over here is, how is the Mechaber telling me that this roof is going to be a kərmelית, even if it's very, very high, but I thought there is no kərmelית higher than 10 tefachim. And normally, normally once we go beyond 10 tefachim in height, everything is considered a makom p'tur. Says the Chavetz Chaim, in our case over here, that does not apply. When do we say that the kərmelית ends at a height of 10 tefachim? That's when the kərmelית begins low down, at a low point. Min hakarka. When the kərmelית starts from the ground level, then we say that the kərmelית that we're creating at the ground level only extends up for 10 tefachim. Aval kan, but over here, the shem kərmelית Allah, that the surface of the roof is becoming a kərmelית, machmas she'ein la mechitzos, because it is not surrounded by mechitzos kishar rishos hayachid, like other rishos hayachids. Chal Allah shem kərmelית af shegavoya yoser me'asar min haaretz. That surface can become a kərmelית even though it's more than 10 tefachim up from the ground. Now, I've done a masterful job of translating the words. What it means is like this. What the Chavetz Chaim is saying is very simple. What he's saying, we say that a kərmelית only extends 10 tefachim in height. What that means is, if the ground area is a kərmelית, so then the kərmelית extends up to 10 tefachim. But now let's analyze our case. In our case, where is the kərmelית beginning? The kərmelית is not beginning at the ground. This structure might be situated inside of Rishus Harabim. So the outer ground area surrounding this structure is a Rishus Harabim. Why is the surface of this roof a kərmelית? It's a kərmelית because it's dalet al dalet, it's 10 tefachim high, but it's not mukaf mechitzos. So that's why it's a kərmelית. It's a kərmelית because it's not mukaf mechitzos. Where does the kərmelית begin? The kərmelית begins at the roof. So the kərmelית, the roof, is its own kərmelית. It's not a Carmelist by virtue of what's happening downstairs on the ground. It's a Carmelist by virtue of what's happening up here. So then this is the starting point. If this is the starting point, so then the 10 tefachim starts from the top of the roof and up. It doesn't start from the ground level and up. So you can't ask a kasha, why is the roof a Carmelist even though it's above 10 tefachim? Now, although I made this sound very nice, we're going to see now that this is actually a machlokes.
Yeah, but when we spoke about the Shusayach and there's a hole in the middle, we said, then we were looking, at the mechitzas from the outside because it has 10. Inside it doesn't have 10, but outside it does. So
Right.
From the outside.
Right.
And now suddenly we're not looking outside.
Well, that's because what's happening down over there on the outside has nothing to do with the Carmelist. The Carmelist is up here, it's not down there.
Yeah,
So there's no shaykhs.
but it's above 10.
Yeah, I know, but it's not above 10 because it starts here.
If you look from the outside, it's above 10.
Okay, so you know what? So let's see what the Mishnah Berurah says now. So the Mishnah Berurah is going to say, first in the brackets he says mihu. However, you should understand, zeh pshita, it is true, dalagad gufa, that when the Carmelist starts on top of the roof, einoi teifes shem Carmelist alaviroi rak ad asar tvachim kidin bika. The Carmelist is only going to extend for a height of 10 tefachim starting at the roof line. So according to this opinion, what the Mishnah Berurah is saying is just very simple. He's saying the Carmelist starts at the roof because that's why it's a Carmelist. It's a Carmelist because of the roof. So the 10 tefachim starts at the roof, but it only goes up 10 tefachim above the roof. Now, v'ayin be'eliyah rabbah, however, if you look in the Eliyah rabbah, shemefakfik al psaka shulchan aruch, he's mefakfik on this psak of the Mechaber. V'chein agra be'Berurah, and so too the gra, the bir agra, hevi mikama rishayim, brings from many rishayim. They bring down over here Taisvis, Rambam, Rashba. So and indeed in the Sha'ar Tzion he brings down here that later on in Shin Nun Aleph it looks like this indeed is going to be the final das of the Mechaber, and the Sha'ar Tzion says over here that the Mechaber was chayzer from this in Shin Nun Aleph. So let's see what he says now. So v'chein agra be'Berurah hevi mikavim rishayim depligi al din zeh. They're chaylik on this din. V'savri, and they hold the b'chol gavni ein shaykh shem Carmelist l'mayla me'asara, that you can never have a Carmelist more than 10 tefachim off of the ground, even in a case like this one, where you would think that the Carmelist starts at the roof. No, since the roof is higher than 10 tefachim off the ground, it cannot be a Carmelist. So what's that roof going to be? That roof is going to be a makom p'tur. It's not mukaf mechitzas. It's dalet al dalet. So what is it? It's a makom p'tur. V'chein le'inyan zizin hamavur lekamei, and so too when we discuss ledges that protrude off the sides of a house, gam kein daitam, so too these Rishonim would hold the bechol gavni ein aleim shem Carmelist, that these ledges that protrude off the side of a house, when they're more than 10 tefachim off the ground, they cannot be considered a Carmelist. Kevin chu lamayla me'asara, since they're more than 10 tefachim off the ground. V'hiskim ledina imahem, and the Bir Agra seems to agree with this Rishonim. He follows this sheet of the Rishonim, that you're never going to have a Carmelist that's more than 10 off the ground. Now, the Mechaber continues, and he says, so we have established so far, and again, this is the das of the Mechaber over here, which goes according to this first opinion that we just saw in the Mishnah Berurah, that this rooftop is going to be a Carmelist. Since the walls, we can't say Gorasik, because the roof is above the walls, so this rooftop is going to be a Carmelist. However, if there's a trap door from the house, or some kind of door that opens up from the interior of the house onto the roof, having Rishos HaYachid, then it's going to be considered a Rishos HaYachid. Says the Chavetz Chaim in Ois Katan Samazayin, Chaloin Pasuach Loy Lagag, if there's some kind of trap door or even a regular door, a staircase that goes up to the roof with a door going out to the roof, De'efshar Lehishtamesh Alagag Derech Sham, so that the people located inside the Rishos HaYachid can have access to the roof and they can use the roof, then the roof is going to be considered a Rishos HaYachid. Lachein, therefore, Nechshav Kol Agag Kechure Rishos HaYachid, now the entire rooftop becomes Chure Rishos HaYachid. It gets a din like the holes of a Rishos HaYachid, which is a Mokayim that is bottle and is nimshach achar the rishus hayachid, and it gets a din of a rishus hayachid. Continues the mechaber, v'chein zizin habotim min hakaisel. So too, if you would have a ledge that protrudes off the side wall of the house, on the exterior of the house, v'yesh behem arba al arba, and the surface of this ledge is daled al daled, what?
I'm not sure I understand exactly this, because it seems very arbitrary, because you could have the same situation. You could have a house over here, and it's over Shusayachid or whatever. It doesn't have to be a house, it could even be Mechitza, and all of that. Everything is in Shusayachid.
Right.
And then you have a window, let's say in the wall, or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And the window goes to a communist, let's say, or something. You don't say this is a Shusayachid, you say it's a communist.
No, that's carmelist.
Even though you can use it. Why can't you can use it? A Shusayachid can go through it and use it. Same thing here. Just because you have an access to go over there, so suddenly there's no, how do you call it, communist, it disappears. It's why over there it's okay, and over here it's not okay.
I would think that the reason is because over there it's an independent rishus. In other words, if you have a binyan, if you have a house, and then the window opens onto a carmelist, the carmelist is not bottle to the rishus hayachid.
So why is it bottle over there?
It's part of the house.
It's a common.
Yeah, but it's part of the house. It's part of the house. Your rooftop is part of your house. So you use it as part of your house. It's bottled to the house. The outside, if you, like I know a guy who lives on a golf course in Florida, right? So just because he has a door that opens onto the golf course is not bottled to his house. That's a Rishus Harabim, or that's a Carmelist, whatever the golf course is probably a Carmelist. So the golf course is a Carmelist, and this is his house. You're not going to say that's bottled to this, but a ledge on the house, that's part of my house. So that's bottled to my house. That's what I would think. So
It's not bottle if there's no window.
no, if there's no window, it's not because it's not usable. You're not using it. Yeah. The v'chein zizin abotim and akaisel of ledges that protrude off the side of the house. V'yesh b'hem arba al arba, they have a surface area of 4 by 4 tefachim. Have a carmelist, they would be a carmelist. Ela im kein chaloin abayis pasuach lehem, unless the window opens up onto the ledge, which again is going to be chure rishus harabim. Says the Chavetz Chaim, v'chein zizin is cut in samaches. V'chein zizin, so too ledges. Ritzaynai loymar, what he means to say is, Af shehem gevoyim lamayla me'asara. This ledge, even though it's more than 10 tefachim high off the ground, kevan she'ein aleya mechitzais sevivam, since they're not mukaf mechitzais, din karmelos aleim, they have a din of a karmelos. V'asar laniach be'rishus harabim, you would not be allowed to take something from the rishus harabim and put it on this ledge, v'chein me'rishus hayachid, or to take something from the house, from the rishus hayachid aleihem, and put it on the ledge, because that would be transferring from a rishus hayachid or a rishus harabim to a karmelis, which is aser. Ice cut and samach tes, unless there's a chaloin pasuach lahem, if there's a window that opens onto the ledge, then it's a rishus hayachid. Daz necheshavim azizim kechayre rishus hayachid, because then the ledge becomes chure rishus hayachid, and it is bottled to the rishus hayachid. Says the mechaber in Sif Yud Zayin, chure karmelis, the holes of a karmelis, einam ki karmelis, do not have the din of a karmelis. Elahim nidainim lefi gavham v'rachbam. Rather, they would be judged based on their measurements. What does this mean? Says the Mishnah Berurah, is cut in ayin. Chayre karmelis. What are these holes of a karmelis? Hainu chayrim sheklape karmelis. These are holes in a wall or a house, the wall of a house, that face onto the karmelis. Kigain, for example, bayis hasamach libika. You have a house that borders onto the plain, onto the valley area where the fields are. V'yesh bekasla churin hapsuchim lebika. In those days, the houses had very thick walls, and there is a hole in the wall of the house, but the hole doesn't go through into the house. So it's not chure rishus hayachid. It faces onto the karmelis. So it has a din, it's chure karmelis. Umayri she'ena moivra me'ever lever. The hole does not go from the outside to the inside. The lavachi, because if it did have a chure rishus hayachid, if it opened onto the inside of the house, so then it would have a din of chure rishus hayachid. Ukidalael b'sif cotton tes. Then it would be judged according to what we said earlier in sif tes ayin shab Mishnah Berurah that chure rishus hayachid become rishus hayachid because they're bottled to the rishus hayachid. So how do you judge them? What?
I think that was a question I was asking.
Yeah, essentially it is. That's right. That's right. This is exactly what you asked. What?
He's saying it is.
No.
It's called rishus hayachid.
You know, if it opens up into the house.
Bit of bigger.
No, it has to be me'aver la'aver. Right, if it goes all the way into the house. No. What you asked is if you have a window in the wall that just opens onto the carmelis. That's not a chur. That's not a chur. If you let's imagine like this. Let's say you have a house, and the house is in a bikkah. It's the middle of a field, right? So the outside is a carmelis. Now you want to take something from it. You want to open the window, take something from inside the house, and put it down on the ground outside in the carmelis. You're not allowed to do that. Because you can't give the outside carmelis. You want to give the entire carmelis the din of chure carmelis. You can't do that.
So what's called rishus hayachid?
Chure, what he's talking about. No, I'll tell you what it is. You have a building, and it has a wall that's a foot thick, and there's a hole in the wall, and it goes all the way through. And you want to put something in the hole. If you want to put something in the hole, the interior of the hole is chure rishus hayachid.
He's not talking about the bikah itself?
No, you can't put something through all the way to the outside. No. Then you're putting it in the bikkah, then you're putting it in the carmelis. That you can't do. The outside is a carmelis. You can't turn the whole outside carmelis into chure rishus hayachid. Right, only in the chur, the interior of the chur.
But on the roof over there.
On the roof, that's the roof of the house. It's part of the house. Okay. So ayin aleph. So these holes would be judged lefi gavhan v'rachban, according to their height and their area. Hainu, what does this mean? Dim rechavim arba al arba, if they have a surface of 4x4. The gavhan mishlosh tefachim ad asara, and they have a height from 3 to 10. So heavy carmelis. So the inside of the hole is going to be a carmelis. V'imloi, and if it's not dalet al dalet, heavy makom p'tur. The interior of the hole is going to be a makom p'tur. Va'afilu hein gavayim in arts l'malam asara, and it's going to remain a makom p'tur as long as it's not dalet al dalet. The hole is going to remain a makom p'tur even if it's higher than 10 tvachim. The chol zek is a gavan shloisha. This is as long as it's at least 3 tvachim off the ground. Aval b'pachas mishloisha, but if it's less than 3 tvachim off the ground, av she'ein by arba al arba, even if it doesn't have 4x4, yesh lahem din carmelis, it's going to be a carmelis. The chashuvin kekarka asamach lehen, because then it's bottled to the carmelis, ukidala elbas if you're gimel, legaybe churu rishus harabim. Whenever something is within 3 tvachim to the ground, it's going to be bottled to the ground, and it's going to have the same din as the ground. So even though normally we don't make a carmelis that's less than dalet al dalet, but if it's a surface that's within 3 tvachim to the ground, it's not becoming a carmelis by virtue of its own area. It's a carmelis because it's bottled to the surrounding carmelis. So that's why it could be a carmelis even though it's not dalet al dalet. Something's troubling you.
I'm not sure I understand. So you have the zip, right? It comes out of a coconut.
Let's say a ledge coming off a kaisel, yeah? That's not what we're talking about now. Now we're talking about a chur. Now we're talking about a chur. Now we're talking about a hole. We're not talking about zizim now. Now we're talking about holes in the wall.
Then you have a chalon. It says.
Wow. No. Here we're talking about the end of the mechaber. The end of the mechaber over here. We're talking about in Yud Zayin, chure carmelis, the holes in the walls. Right.
In other words, it doesn't go all the way through to the.
Right. It doesn't go all the way through to the rishus hayachid. So.
It doesn't go.
No, this hole does not go all the way through, so it's chure carmelis.
So then you judge it
according to its height and its width.
Right. So you know what I'm talking about.
Okay. Sif Yud Ches. Geder carmelis. What is the rule of a carmelis? Not so much the rule. What's the geder of a carmelis? What are the parameters that make up a carmelis? Shalo yeh pachas me'arba al arba. A carmelis, generally speaking, cannot have an area that's less than 4x4, even though we just now said a case of a carmelist that is less than 4 by 4. But again, it's not a carmelist in of itself in that case. It's only a carmelist because it's bottled to the surrounding carmelist. But to make an area a carmelist on its own, by virtue of itself, that's not going to happen if it's less than 4 by 4. So Geder carmelist, Shaloye Pachas Me'arba Arba, it cannot be less than 4 by 4 Tvachim. Ve'ena Teifeses Ela Ad Asara. And the airspace of a carmelist, it's only a carmelist up to 10 Tvachim high. Ula Ba'ila Be'asara, but above a height of 10 Tvachim, having Makom P'tur is a Makom P'tur. So you have a Bika, you have an area of fields that's not Mukaf Bechitzais, it's a carmelist. The carmelist ends at 10 Tvachim of height. Above 10 Tvachim of height is a Makom P'tur. V'yamim u'nechalim. When we come to oceans, waterways, rivers, mimaya moshchinan. Where do we measure the 10 Tvachim of height from? We don't measure the 10 Tvachim of height from the seabed. We measure it from the surface of the water. Hilkach, therefore, hanoitel mehem me'al penei hamayim. If somebody removes something from the surface of the water, ad asara ba'avir, from the surface of the water until 10 Tvachim high, heavy carmelist. That's a carmelist. L'mayla me'asara ba'avir, but once he gets over 10 Tvachim off the surface of the water, heavy Makom P'tur, now you're in a Makom P'tur. Now let's dive into the Mishnah Berurah here. Ice cotton, ayin beis. Geder carmelist. The Mechaber used interesting phraseology. Geder carmelist. What does this mean? Ritzayin loymar. What the Mechaber means to say, klal din carmelist. The general rules of a carmelist. Ayin gimel. So the Mechaber said that a carmelist is not, generally speaking, it's not daled al daled, and it only grabs into the height of 10 Tvachim. But above 10 Tvachim is a Makom P'tur. Why is this? So says the Chavetz Chaim, because when we come to a carmelist, which is a Rishus D'Rabbanan, we're makel on this Rishus, Mikule Rishus Harabim, we give it both the leniencies that apply to a Rishus Harabim, Umekule Rishus HaYachid, and the leniencies that apply to Rishus HaYachid. Mikule Rishus Harabim, the carmelist has the leniency of Rishus Harabim, De'ena Tefeses Ela Ad Asara Tvachim, that the Rishus of a carmelist only extends to a height of 10 Tvachim. That's like Rishus Harabim. Rishus Harabim is till 10 Tvachim. Rishus HaYachid is Ela Ad L'Rakia. Rishus Harabim stops at 10 Tvachim. Ukidol El B'Sif Yud Beis. V'loi heavy ki Rishus HaYachid Ela Ad L'Rakia Kidol El B'Sif Hey. Umikule Rishus HaYachid, it also gets a leniency that applies to Rishus HaYachid. The lo yehe pachas me'arba tfachim al arba tfachim ukidol el b'sif beis. We said earlier in Sif Beis, a Rishus HaYachid has to have a minimum dimension of 4 Tvachim by 4 Tvachim. So to a carmelist, we're not going to establish a carmelist unless it has a minimum area of 4 by 4 Tvachim. De'im ha'amud machzik pachus mizeh. If you would have a pillar, a column, whose upper surface does not have an area of 4 by 4, heavy Makom P'tur. The top of that pillar is going to be a Makom P'tur. It's not going to be a carmelist. If you test, like we're going to say in Sif Yud Tes when we discuss the rules of a Makom P'tur. Now, Ayin Daled, the Mechaber said that over 10 Tvachim is a Makom P'tur. Now this is a little catchy. Ulamayla me'asara, over 10 Tvachim in the airspace of a carmelist. Ritzayin loymar, what he means to say is, She'em ha'amud ha'yerachav arba al arba. Let's say you had a platform that had the dimensions of 4 by 4 Tvachim. Upachos me'asara b'goiva. And it's less than 10 Tvachim high. So you've got a platform, let's say in Rishus Harabim, right? It's less than 10 Tvachim high. It's got 4 by 4. So it's not a Rishus HaYachid because it's less than 10 Tvachim high. So what is it? It's a carmelist. Sheyesh alav din carmelist. The surface of this platform has the din of a carmelist. V'kalat min ha'avir sha'olav lamayla me'asara. And you caught something from over the airspace of this carmelist, but you caught it while it was lamayla me'asara, mutter l'haitzi l'rishus harabim oy l'rishus hayachid. You would be allowed to bring it out to a rishus harabim or to a rishus hayachid, tahare kalat mi makom p'tur, because you grabbed it from a makom p'tur. We're on Kuf Tzadik Tes Amud Aleph. We're down in the Mishnah Berurah, Ois Kat and Ayin Dalet. Now, this, you have to be very careful to understand this Mishnah Berurah properly. This Mishnah Berurah threw me when I first read it. A simple reading of the Mishnah Berurah seems to say that if you're standing on a Carmelis, right? There's a Rishus HaRabim. In the Rishus HaRabim, there's a platform that's less than 10 tefachim tall, and it's got a surface of Dalet al Dalet. The top of that surface is a Carmelis. I'm standing on that platform. So I'm standing in a Carmelis. Now, if I catch something from above the 10 tefachim line, I caught it in a Mokum P'tur, and now I can take it and put it into the Rishus HaRabim. That's what a simple reading of the Mishnah Berurah seems to say. But that is absolutely false. That's not true. You're not allowed to do that. If you're standing in a Carmelis, even if you pick your hand up, or even if you happen to be quite tall, and you're over 10 tefachim, you are a Carmelis. If your feet are in a Carmelis, you're a Carmelis. If your feet are in Rishus HaRabim, even though Rishus HaRabim only goes up to 10 tefachim, if you're standing in Rishus HaRabim and you reach up over 10 tefachim and catch a ball, you're a Rishus HaRabim. Your hand, you're catching it in Rishus HaRabim, not in a Mokum P'tur. So that is not what the Mishnah Berurah means. What the Mishnah Berurah, the way you have to learn this Mishnah Berurah is as follows. You have a pillar that's less than 10 tefachim tall, and it's 4 by 4, so the surface is a Carmelis, but I'm not standing on the Carmelis. I'm standing in the Rishus HaRabim. I'm standing in the Rishus HaRabim, and now I'm going to take something from over 10 tefachim above the surface of the platform. But I'm not on the platform. I'm in the Rishus HaRabim. So then I took it from a Mokum P'tur. What? So I'll tell you exactly how it could happen. I'll give you... well, then you're going to get problems with the tree. But I'll give you a very simple case. I'm in a house. I'm on the 3rd floor of a house. And the house opens... next door to the house is a bika. Next door to the house is a Carmelis. Not a Rishus HaRabim. So I open up my 3rd floor window, and somebody throws me something, and I'm catching it now in a Mokum P'tur. I'm taking it from outside from a Mokum P'tur, and I bring it into my house, into the Rishus HaYachid. That's fine. Because where I caught it is not a Carmelis. Even though it's over a Carmelis, it's more than 10 tefachim off the ground. So where I took it from was a Mokum P'tur. So I could take it from here and bring it into the house, into the Rishus HaYachid. But if I would be standing in the Carmelis, then this doesn't work. Let's say. The Rishuyos? No, they're not. Rishus HaYachid and Rishus HaRabim come from the Diglei Midbar. We learn them out from the Diglei Midbar.
We're learning it out from...
Oh, you want to know, like, are we learning it out from Psukim? No, we're not learning it out from Psukim. We learn out from the Melechas HaMishkan. From the Agalos, and from the Diglei Midbar. We don't pull that from a pasuk. I don't think we pull it from a pasuk. So I guess in essence it is halacha l'Moshe Sinai. Yeah, but the Carmelis is din d'Rabbanan. The Carmelis is purely din d'Rabbanan. Okay, says the Chavetz Chaim weiter. V'chein, similarly.
You can only, if you're standing at Rishus HaRabim, you can bring it to Rishus HaRabim. If you're standing at Rishus HaYachid,
You can bring it to the Rishus HaYachid. V'chein, im not kana b'rosh ha'amud. If you would put a pole on top of this Carmelis, and now you're raising it up over 10 tefachim, having nami Mokum P'tur. On top of that pole that you're erecting is going to be a Mokum P'tur. You would be allowed to take something from the Rishus HaYachid and put it on top of that pole. we measure from the surface of the water. Ritzayna loymar, she'ein moeded in asar tfachim bikarkes hayam. We don't measure the 10 tfachim height of the Carmelis from the seabed. Rather, we measure from the surface of the water and above. Ayin vav. The Mechaber said, somebody takes something from the surface of the water, until a height of 10 tefachim in the airspace, heavy Carmelis, says the Mishnah Berurah, Eis got 9 vav, heavy Carmelis. You're not allowed to be metaltal in the ocean. You weren't allowed to be metaltal arba amos. Or to take something from the surface of the ocean to a rishus hayachid or to a rishus harabim. Now we come to another very cute Mishnah Berurah, where the Mechaber said over here, but lamayla me'asara ba'avir, but if you're over 10 tvachim, over the water level, have a makub tur, it's a makub tur. Says the Chavetz Chaim, and I cut 9 zayin. Lamayla me'asara, ritzoyno loymar. What he wants to say is, Shem roitzel taltal hamayim, shen notal me'al panei hamayim. You want to take water that you removed from the surface of the water, ulahilichai arba amos ba'avir, lamayla me'asara, and you want to transport it through the makom p'tur, lamayla me'asara, mutter, that you're allowed to do. Now here again, we have the same problem, okay? This does not mean that if you're standing in a Carmelis, you could pick something up, raise it over 10 tvachim, move it 4 amas, and then put it back down 4 amas away. You can't do that, because then you are metaltal daled amas in a Carmelis, because you're in the Carmelis. So you're just moving something 4 amas in a Carmelis, even though you raised it up, you took it through a makom p'tur and you put it back down. That you can't do. What you're allowed to do is, if you're in a different rishus, if you're not in the Carmelis. So like what I thought to myself this morning was, since we're talking about mayim, you're on a boat, you're on a svina, and the svina is big enough to be a rishus hayachid. And now you go ahead and you take a bucket and you lower it down to the water and you pick up a bucket of water. You reel up a bucket of water and you bring it up lamayla me'asara. And now you take it 4 amas away and you put it back down. That you could do, because you didn't transport it in a Carmelis. You transported it in a makom p'tur. You picked it up from, what?
You're allowed to walk in rishus hayachid 4 amas.
No, but over here you're transporting the water not in rishus hayachid. You didn't. Not that you didn't. I'm not saying that you brought the water onto the boat, walked 4 hours, and then put it back. No, what you did was you lowered a bucket off the side, right? You lifted up the bucket more than 10 tefachim off the water level, but you didn't bring it onto the boat. And you walked, you moved it 4 hours, and you put it back down. So you put it through a makom p'tur. That's what you did. You went through the makom p'tur. That's what he's saying over here. Right? No, wrong one. Return you want to move the mayim. You want to transport it through the airspace over the water, higher than 10 tefachim. Mutter, that's mutter. But that's only if you're standing in a different rishus. That's only if you're in a rishus hayachid or you're in a rishus harabim, not if you're in the Carmelis. If you're in the Carmelis, this doesn't work. Like this, you could do it because you're transporting it through a makom p'tur. You're not transporting it in a Carmelis.
That's why he's allowed to take it from over there and bring it to rishus hayachid, because he's standing in rishus hayachid. And the same thing was in rishus harabim. So
no,
here,
so if he's
over here, if he's in the boat, let's say, and he takes the water, and he doesn't carry the bucket, but he carries within 10 from the floor, within 10. So he's tired. He's standing in rishus hayachid, and his hand, everything is in rishus hayachid.
no, so I think we're going to see later that if you're standing in one rishus and you're holding something over in a different rishus, then it has the din of the other rishus. But if you're standing in a rishus and just you're lifting it up over your thing to a makom p'tur, it goes by where you're standing. It doesn't go by the height. But if you're standing in a rishus hayachid and you're holding something in rishus harabim, right? That's the first Mishnah in Shabbos, basically, right? If the balabayas is inside and the ani is outside. So if the ani picks up something in rishus harabim and puts it into your hand, right? Your hand is outside. So the ani picks up something in the rishus harabim, puts it in your hand, and then you bring it inside to the rishus hayachid. So that's the issa d'Rabbanan. That's not an issa d'Oraisa. That's the issa d'Rabbanan, because when he put it, what?
You didn't have an akira.
Well, no, the ani had an akira. The ani had an akira, but right, he didn't have a hanacha in a rishus hayachid. I'm bringing it into the rishus hayachid when I bring it in, but until I bring it into the rishus hayachid, it's not in the rishus hayachid yet. It's still in the rishus harabim. If the ma'isa would stop right there, if he would pick it up and he would put it in my hand, and I would stay like this all Shabbos, not right. It would be considered that it's still in the rishus harabim. It's not in the rishus hayachid until I bring it in. This is so tricky.
What happened in the other case when he was taking, 10 tefachim above the Torah? He was standing in rishus.
He was standing in rishus harabim.
He took it above from
from a makom p'tur. He took it from. Let's say I'm here in the rishus harabim. This is the Kamalis, and I take it from over here. Right. So I took it from a makom p'tur. Right. It depends. Say again.
Correct. He said before we made a statement, we understood it to mean that wherever you're standing, even if you're sticking your hand up, it's a different issue up on top.
Up on top is a makom p'tur.
About you're standing where you're standing, it's what's kaveh is where you're standing.
Right. When it goes in height, when it's a question of height, it goes where I'm standing. Right. Okay. All right. Ayin ches. Okay, we didn't do ayin ches yet. Okay. Bottom line of the mechaber. We go to the Ramah. Haga. Bar ha'omed bekarmelis. If you have a well that's located in a karmelis, afilo amayk meya ama. Even if this well is 100 amas deep, heavy karmelis, it remains a karmelis throughout its entire depth. Elim kain hu rachav arba al arba, unless it's going to have an area of 4x4. If it's 4x4, it's going to become a rishus hayachid. But if it doesn't have 4x4, it's going to remain a karmelis no matter how deep it is. De'ein makom p'tor b'karmelis, because there's no such thing as a makom p'tor in a karmelis. And this we're going to see in Sifyot Tes is actually a machlokes rishonim. But right now, the Ramah is being kaveya like this, he's being soisam like this shita, that there's no such thing as a makom p'tur in a karmelis. Okay? So this well, even though it's so deep, it's narrow, it's not daled al daled, when do we have a karmelis that's not daled al daled? A karmelis has to be daled al daled. But this well that's not daled al daled remains a karmelis, no matter how deep it is, and we'll see why. Right. So let's see. Says Mishnah Berurah Ayin Ches, ha'omed bekarmelis. This well is in a karmelis. De'ilu ha'omed b'rishus harabim. Let's say you would have such a well in the rishus harabim. So in the rishus harabim, what's the rule? Very simple. You have a chritz in a ditch in rishus harabim. So okay, if it's from 3 tefachim deep until 10 tefachim deep, and it's less than daled al daled, what is it? It's a makom p'tur, right? If it's daled al daled, it's karmelis. If it's 10 tefachim deep and it's daled al daled, it's a rishus hayachid, right? But if it's less, so it's a makom p'tur. But over here, since it's in a karmelis, if it would be in a rishus harabim, it would be a makom p'tur. Kishein b'arba la'arbo, kamei b'sifyot tes. But over here, afilo amak meya ama, even if it's 100 amas deep, Ritzaynei loymar, v'gam rachav pachas b'arba al arba, and it's less than 4x4, it's a karmelis. V'atam The reason for this is mishum dehu batal legabe a karmelis shehu oimid boy. It becomes batal to the karmelis ukidelakamei bahaga b'deya harishayna, like we're going to see in Sif Yud Tes in the first opinion brought down by the Ramah. Now, what it's going to say over there is a very interesting rule. You have to realize that midaraisa, there's no such thing as a karmelis. Midaraisa, there's a rishus hayachid, there's a rishus harabim. Whatever is not a rishus hayachid or is not a rishus harabim is what? Is a makom p'tur. There's no such thing as a karmelis, right? The chachamim went ahead and the chachamim made a new thing. They made a rishus rabbanon called a karmelis. By a karmelis, they have a svara that says matzah min es minoi. What does that mean? The Chafetz Chaim is going to say, when you have a karmelis, which midaraisa is a makom p'tur, but the chachamim were machmir, and they turned this makom p'tur into a rishus rabbanon called a karmelis, and they gave it certain restrictions, it schleps every other makom p'tur with it. Matzah min es minoi. It found its own type. Since the chachamim declared this larger makom p'tur to be a rishus rabbanon of a karmelis, and they were machmer on it, and they gave it restrictions, it schleps along with it every other kind of makom p'tur. So this bar that's amuk mea ama, it's 100 feet deep, and it's less than daled al daled, it should be a makom p'tur. Since it's in a karmelis, it gets schlepped along with the karmelis, and it gets a din of a karmelis. That's at least according to the Day Rishayna in Sif Yud Tes. What? Black hole. So, continues the Chafetz Chaim.
We say the same thing, but how do you call it?
What?
We said more or less the same thing back in the car.
By the chur or by the rakak? By the rakak? Well, by the rakak,
Since the people go,
since they use it,
so it's not the just
yeah, I mean, it is similar. There is a certain similarity. Or like the chure rishus hayachid or the chure rishus harabim, where we say that something is bottle. So in a way, it's similar. V'had the karmel on the geder karmel shelo yehi pachas me'arba al arba. I in the mechaber just said that a karmelis is never less than 4x4. Al karachak ayri ladas hagazu heichad da ha'amid oimid b'rishus harabim. That rule is only on a surface that's located in the rishus harabim, where you're trying to make something a karmelis by virtue of itself. It's in a rishus harabim. You want to turn it into a karmelis, it's got to have a surface of 4x4. Dilu hayoimid b'karmelis, but if it was in a karmelis, afilu pachas me'arba arba, gamke chen karmelis alei. It becomes a karmelis. The matzah minis minai ubata legabe. Now the truth is that this is also not so strange when you think of a rishus hayachid. Think of a rishus hayachid. You have a rishus hayachid, and you have a pillar in the middle of the rishus hayachid. You have a post in the middle of the rishus hayachid, and it's 12 tefachim high, and it's not daled al daled on top. It's not a makom p'tur. It's a rishus hayachid. It's in the rishus hayachid. It's bottled to the rishus hayachid. In rishus harabim, it's not that way, because in rishus harabim, once you have some kind of pillar in the middle of rishus harabim, it's not lihiluk harabim. It's not something for the rabbim. So it's nafki miklal rishus harabim. It's taken out of the rishus harabim. Now, what do you want to do with it? You want to make it a karmelis? Well, then it's got to be daled al daled. It's got to be a chosh of a makom to make it something else. So what is it? It's a makom p'tur. But in a karmelis, we don't have a makom p'tur. Karmelis is more like a rishus hayachid in this sense. It's a karmelis. Whatever is in it is a karmelis. It's not nafki miklal karmelis. It remains a karmelis like everything else. Right. What do you have? The Mechaber said, the Ramah said, Elim kenu rachav arba al arba. If the inside of the pit would be daled al daled, then the have a rishus hayachid. Then the inside of the pit would be a rishus hayachid. I guess we're going to have to stop over here. I was hoping to get to the end of Shin Mem Hey. Really, we should have a week to Chazer Shin Mem Hey, because we need to get all of these rules of rishus hayachid, rishus harabim, karmelis, makom p'tur. We need to get them fixed in our head so that we can go weiter into the halachas of Haitzah. Seif Shalom. Have a good trip. Enjoy.